Hi everyone, this is Jason with Monticello Custom Homes and Remodeling, coming from outside the Hickory Hills Custom that we just finished a short time ago, and I wanted to announce a video series we're going to start, kind of run through August. It'll be probably 5 to 7 videos total, and describing the building process. I get a lot of questions from homeowners and potential clients that's the first question they have is, how do we go through this? We've never done this before. How do we get from wanting to build or thinking we want to build to the point that we are building and then to our home? How does the process work? So I'm going to do a little series on that, just kind of one step at a time, and we'll kind of at the end also compile them all back together, put them in one video and post them to our social media, the profiles, so that you can look it up later in the future if you remember about it and you want to reference it in a year whenever you're ready to build. So please follow along, and it should be a great little series. Hi everyone, this is Jason with Monticello Custom Homes and Remodeling. Doing our first video on our series on the building process, and the first step is obviously going to be figuring out that you're ready to build, that you want to build that dream home, you want to build your retirement home, whatever it may be, that for the reasoning of needing to do so. And then after you've decided you're ready to, you need to talk with your banker, look at your financials, figure out how much budget do you have for this home. That's going to play a big part in the upcoming steps on what you're going to build, how much you're going to build, if it's going to be your dream home or if it's going to be an intermediary home between there. And then also looking at what kind of home you're wanting to build. Are you wanting to build a walkout home, walkout basement? Are you wanting to build a story and a half like this one, or a 2-story? These will all play again in part with your budget and with some of the upcoming steps you're going to have to do. So let's start there, and then we'll pick it up again on the next step. Thank you. Just to people, talk to your builder before you close on your lot, because that builders, we've had enough experience, we can look at a lot and tell that if it'll work for a walkout, if that's what you're wanting, or if it's going to work for a crawl space. We can look at the lot and assess whether that lot that you thought you got a great deal is going to take a lot of work to get it prepared for building. We've done some in the past that homeowner thought they got a steal on a lot, and in the end the cost to get that lot ready to build on, whether it was because of all the trees or all the steepness of the lot, things like that, just actually pushed it to where they could have bought a lot that was $20,000, $30,000 more than what they paid for this lot and still came out ahead. So lot's going to be the big one. Builder's going to be your next step. We'll talk about that in the next video. Thank you. Hi everyone, this is Jason with Monticello Custom Homes and Remodeling. Working on our video series on the process of building. We've got our property, we know how much money we want and can spend on this. The next step we need to find is our builder. And like I mentioned in the previous video, finding your builder before you close on your property definitely can be a benefit, because you don't want to go in there and find a lot that you think is a great deal, but you can't afford to build a house on it because the prep cost is too high. One place to look for your builder is the HBA of Greater Springfield. This is an organization that the whole goal is to keep housing affordable, and it's full of the best builders in the area. We all have work comp and general liability insurance, and it's just a great resource to be able to find good qualified builders that have been doing this for a long time and are professionals at what they do. And then once you do find a few builders you are interviewing, it doesn't necessarily always have to come down to price. As far as price is very important, but you also want to go in there and look at the finding a builder that can see the vision of the home you are wanting to build on that property, and also find somebody you can communicate with, because the whole process in the end is going to push a year, if not more, depending on the size of home. That you don't want to find somebody that you are constantly going to be butting heads with or anything like that. If you want to make the process enjoyable, you need to find somebody that you have a good rapport with. And in the end, most of the builders you're going to find here at the HBA, we're all going to be very similar in price in the long run. It's not one guy's got a way to get in and do it for 20% less than anybody else. Those would be ones I would definitely always double check all the numbers, because they're probably missing something. But those are the processes I would push on there. And then once you found your builder, your property, your bank, then the next step is going to be designing the home. And on the next video, we'll catch up on that and discuss that a little bit. Thank you. Hi everyone, this is Jason with Monticello Custom Homes and Remodeling. On to our next step of the building process, and that's going to be designing the house. It's one, we've got our builder, we've got our land, we know what type of house we're wanting to build, and I'm sure you've looked at photos, you've seen house plans online you like, you've seen photos on Pinterest or Houzz you like. The next step is going to be putting that all together and getting it to your dream house or the house that you're wanting to build. There's a lot of different designers and architects in the area that you can work with, and most will start the process by meeting with you, looking at the property or looking at a description of the property, and then looking at what you're wanting. Maybe it's house plans you've seen you like, it's photos on Houzz, which definitely I recommend setting that up and getting that done. Those things can definitely help. They'll kind of try to pick your brain and see what features they see that you are wanting, so then whenever they start on that design process, they can craft a house that is specific to you and specific to what you want. So this can take a little while to go through this process, just a little bit of back and forth so that they can fine-tune and get what you're wanting in the house. And then these are ones that is a big reason why I suggest you find your builder before you find your designer and design your house, because the builder, we can be a great resource during these meetings. We won't necessarily direct or lead the design of the home, but we can be there as a resource to how much things cost. If we see things that are getting a little out of hand on cost, we can bring that to your attention, because it's easy to get in with the architect, with the designer, and create a home that you can no longer afford. I've seen it many times when people skip this step and they go straight to the designer, then bring it to me to a price that we've had to go back, start over, or go back a few steps and bring the house in to where they can't afford it now. So definitely that's the next step, and that's definitely, you start to get to see the all those dreams starting to get down on paper, which is definitely a real exciting time. So we'll follow up on the next one. That's going to be estimating, and that's definitely going to be an interesting one to talk about. So thank you. Hi everyone, this is Jason with Monticello Custom Homes and Remodeling, working on our building process video, and we are on to the point of the estimate. We've got our plan, we've got our builder, we've got our land, and now it's time to make sure what we've designed is something we can afford. And like I mentioned in earlier videos, having your builder can definitely help this process already, because it's one, you're going in there, the builder can help you through that design process, making sure that you aren't getting out of hand in your home. But the overall, now the one is really, let's put pen to paper and let's verify that everything that we did design will fit within our budget. All the details we want, the cabinets we want, the fixtures we want, all that will actually fall within our budget. So this process can sometimes take a month or even a little longer, just depending on the house, depending on the backload of the builder and how they estimate. We go in and we estimate every process with the trades involved to make sure we're getting actual hard numbers on these. And I mean, our budgets, here's an example of one of ours, they're about 30 pages long, because we go through and work every little detail out so that whenever we actually do start the construction process, it's an enjoyable one. So just trying to go through and get all the detail in, and we also go through and we'll add, we want to do everything that you possibly could want in that house in that first round. Most likely we'll have revisions, we will have things we have to cut back on, but having it in there, having a dollar amount to that allows you to be able to go in there and make a more educated decision as to why you're pulling that, why you're changing products there, whatever it may be. Going in there and not knowing exactly what it cost, it's easy to keep adding, because you might have a cost in your head you think it is, but in reality it's something a little bit more. So it's one, having that number definitely helps. So definitely recommend doing that, and then just plan on a revision or two. And then once the that is pretty much nailed down, then we'll get into the contract part, verifying everything with the bank. The bank's going to want an appraisal. We'll discuss that a little bit more in the next video. So thanks for following, and we'll get into that one here soon. Thank you. Hi everyone, this is Jason with Monticello Custom Homes and Remodeling. Working on one of the final videos in our building process series, and we are up to the point of contract and finalizing our estimate and then getting underway. The process overall probably has taken 3 to 4 months, maybe even 5, depending on how quick the process went, how well the plans went, things like that. So definitely got a lot of the legwork out of the way so that the building process can be more enjoyable. And that building process might take 6 to 9 months, maybe even up to a year. So definitely a lot more in store still throughout the process. The weather can play a big part in that. The trade availability, things like that, are processes where all us builders are running into right now. Is definitely a shortage of labor out there. So we're fighting for the same ones, getting them on the site whenever we want them on the site. So definitely there might be some delays throughout the process, and the way we like to do ours is we'll go in and lay out a schedule from the start, but once we get to drywall, we can definitely start firming that up more for that final date. Trying to do so at the start is, with the market today, is very difficult. So we like to firm it up at that point, and then as we proceed from there, we're definitely keeping an eye on that, updating you as it goes to make sure that we do have a good completion date. So whenever you're working on your final loan, things like that, don't necessarily look at your contract date or your date that you're starting breaking ground as to what date the builder's perceiving that we might be done at that point, because if you do that, most likely you're going to be trying to get an extension, things like that, to hold the rate in if that's what you're looking at. But definitely the further the process goes along, the tighter the schedule can get, because you start to get under roof, you start to get to where weather doesn't affect you quite as much on the entire project. You can still proceed inside if it's raining or snowing, while outside you might be kind of sitting on your hands. So definitely a lot of ups and downs throughout this next 6 to 9 months for you. So just enjoy it, and understand that the builders are working as hard as we can to keep your project moving. There's a lot of people we're working for that we need to definitely try to make sure we use the resources the most efficiently. So sometimes you might go to your site and no one's there, but the builder has a plan to try to catch things back up. But we've got one more building process video, and we'll follow that up here pretty soon, and then we will put all these on the website once we are complete with them all. We'll kind of edit them all together and put them all as one. But thanks a lot. Hi everyone, this is Jason with Monticello Custom Homes and Remodeling. Working on the final video on our building process series, and we're underway. Like the remodel behind me, we are framing it, whatever process we are in at the moment. But we've got everything underway, so now the next big one is communication. And we like to definitely stay in contact with our homeowners a lot via text, email, phone calls, meetings on site, things like that, so that we can all be on the same page, that there aren't any one person's thinking one thing, the other person's thinking another. And this has to do with schedule, with budget, everything. On budget, we like to go in there and help everybody see where we are along the way by doing a budget tracker. So every single draw we do, we give you a budget tracker that kind of shows where, in relation to each category on our budget, where that does relate to the budget. So you can see once, kind of as we go, that okay, here we're a little bit over budget, here we were able to save a little bit, we're under budget. So it's not a big surprise once we get 75% of the way done that you are over budget or you're under budget, whatever the case may be. But that gives you a good real-time look at it. So that also helps in making those decisions on some change orders, some upgrades, things like that. If you kind of know where you're sitting, it's easier to decide, okay, we're under budget, we can afford to go in and maybe splurge a little bit on these countertops, as opposed to if we're over budget, we need to probably rein that in a little bit so we just don't keep pushing it over budget. But communication's the big key there, schedule and budget, and then just enjoying the process. Just get out there and walk the site, I understand that everybody's working for the same end goal, and we want definitely you to have a very beautiful home when it is all done and it be what you really want, or remodel in this case. But just enjoy the process, and we'll definitely put all these together, edit them together onto one big video that you can watch in the future if you want, or reference back to if you are building a home. But definitely, if you're thinking about it, give us a call. I love to talk to you. Thank you.